2. Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. Been a couple weeks since I caught up with this guy. Lots of things going on here in the summer season. He and I threatened to go to a baseball game together, but we didn't make it. But I am wearing the hat. They say, give me an O, like I get an O for Curio. Brian Sanderoff is here from Curio Wellness, one of our great sponsors and partners up on York Road, just south of Timonium Road. And look, everybody knows you as the cannabis guy, right? And I've known you since you were the pharmacy guy in Pigtown. But in the middle of all of this, you've gotten involved in holistic wellness. And I think summertime, it's something about summer and holistic wellness that people talk about allergies, people talk about joints, I know I came to you a couple months ago about my hip, and it turns out I've been sleeping better, and I'm going to tell you that story. But I know you do everything out there, and the holistic thing sort of gets lost in the shuffle. And honestly, when I walk in, it's the first thing I see when I visit you, right?
Yeah. When you walk into the place, because we're, as far as a cannabis dispensary goes, we're completely unique because we have a holistic pharmacy as well. So we have a whole wellness center with a spa, acupuncture, massage, and that kind of stuff. And as you mentioned, when you walk into the holistic pharmacy. So what hits you right in the face are all of the nutraceuticals, the vitamins, the herbs, the nutrients, the homeopathic remedies that are other tools that we use to help people attain wellness.
So you remember my hip was bothering me, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's been bothering me a long time. I'm 50 years old. I played a lot of tennis. I was a catcher as a kid. You know what I mean? I wasn't the most reckless kid, but, I never climbed trees, but I rode bikes. I've had, chondromalacia in my right knee. I've jogged a lot. I've done a lot of yoga. I'm old, right? And I thought my hip was going bad. And as it turns out, you always talk about like golf clubs. There's another club in the bag. It's one more tool in my toolbox. And Dr. Steve at Elliott Chiropractic, who you know is my dear friend, I've known him forever, he's always beating on me about sleeping on my back instead of my stomach. That you sleep on your stomach, you screw up your neck, you screw up everything. Turns out I started to sleep on my back the last 2 months. I started to take your, give me the name of the stuff you gave me, black pills.
Hyaluronic acid, HA.
HA. Okay, so I started taking those, and I'm terrible at taking pills. I would be the world's worst drug addict. I would be a terrible diabetic. I would just die. I say to my wife, I would forget to take my shot the second day, I'd be dead. She's like, no, you wouldn't. And I'm like, I wouldn't be able to give myself a shot. I'd be dead on the first day. So my wife has all of these ailments and takes pills and kept herself alive. So I never remember to take the pills. But what I started to do was sleep on my back with a pillow under my legs, and I've been using like a neck pillow so that my neck doesn't fall and I get the neck strain over here. I've been doing a lot of yoga. I've been eating my vitamins because you got me holistic, right? And I feel great, man. Like my hip, I thought I was going to need hip replacement, hip surgery. I've had friends of mine, some with sports franchises, wink, wink, my friend Kevin will tell you, hip replacement, knee replacement, joint replacement. Dude, I'm 50. I'm worried about all of that stuff, right? Like literally. And that's probably why I need you, right? Like you wanted to help me with the hip, and it turns out that I was sleeping funky, honestly, right? But give me some examples of some things in your holistic tool chest where you've helped people, and just something stupid like the way you're sleeping. I remember when Dr. Steve took one look at my ass. I'll just say it for true because he'll laugh at that. And I used to put my wallet in my back pocket, and I would sit, and I was all out of line, and my hips and my joints were a mess because of that. And I'm sure there's a million things I could come to you and say, I've got a sleep problem. My doctor says I've got diabetes. Is there a holistic thing I can be taking? Is there green tea I can be drinking, right? Give me a little primer of somebody who's 50 like me in pretty decent shape that comes into you and says, I'm a 50-year-old dude. Give me a male vitamin. Give me some stuff I should be thinking about, because I did come to you about my hip, and I'm telling you, not having a hip that doesn't hurt every morning is a real blessing every day, man. It's changed the quality of my life the last 8 weeks.
That's I really love hearing that. That's it, quality of life. And so, here's the deal. First of all, I've had the observation that us baby boomers, and you're sort of just at the cusp of that. I think baby boomers officially went to 64, and you were born a little bit after that. But what we found is that we've seen the way our parents have aged, and we don't want any part of that. We want things to be different for us. And it really comes down to this concept of genetic expression. So your genes can express themselves in a good way or a bad way what determines how your genes express themselves is how you bathe them in your experiences, including diet and exercise and lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a group of supplements. I call them the Curios Essentials, which are the supplements that all of us need to be on to get our genes to express themselves most efficiently. And probably the top on the list is the least expensive, and that's why I like it, and it's vitamin D. As creatures on this planet, we were not designed to live indoors, and we have not been living indoors long enough to, foster the genetic changes that are required for us to thrive under those conditions. And so taking, 2,000 to 5,000 units of vitamin D every day is probably the most important thing that any of us can do. When you do that, it needs to be the natural D, which is vitamin D3, and it's dirt cheap. I mean, literally pennies a day.
Why? What will it do? What will I notice after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months, 6 years of taking vitamin D? What will the benefit be?
Yeah, it's a good question. And so the answer is potentially you'll notice something right away, especially have to do with your immune system and especially with flu season coming up. But it's more the 2 years down the road, not the 2 weeks down the road. This is something that we have to understand that we're doing. I don't want to say on faith because it is definitely based in science, but vitamin D controls or influences the expression of over 1,000 different genes in your body. And so it plays a role with structure. It plays a role, and so I'm talking about bone strength. It plays a role with cardiovascular health. It plays a role with brain chemistry balance. It plays a role with immune system, especially in particular. So if you do something that costs you pennies a day now and you don't get cancer 2 years down the road, how do you attribute it to that? It's really hard, but there is hard scientific evidence that when we maintain our vitamin D blood level in a certain range, that we are much less susceptible to all sorts of cancers, including colon and testicular, prostate cancer, breast, ovarian cancer, all of that kind of stuff. And so that's one of those things that it's really hard to say, okay, this is why, but scientifically we understand that what's going on in the body is vital for this. And so that's a really important one. That's a simple one. Probiotics, good bacteria in the gut play a very important role to how we protect ourselves from the environment. And again, with the flu season coming up, these are all really good reasons to kind of get on board now.
I drank too much beer at Billy Joel. I purged myself a couple weeks ago. Things haven't been the same. I mean, there's nothing worse than a hangover at 50 that you didn't bring on, that you didn't want because you didn't eat. Brian Sanderoff is here. Curio Wellness. See, you thought they were just doing cannabis over there, right? Cannabis education. They're doing all sorts of things. I want to ask you this because every time I see Marvin Lewis, and I haven't seen Marvin since he was the Bengals coach, although we've been texting back and forth, he gives me a really hard time about the color of my hair. And he always says I'm coloring my hair. And I'll be honest, I'll take my hat off, my Curio hat here. This is my hair. Like it's what it is. The hammer and nails. People are going to cut my hair next week, and I don't know why I didn't go gray, and I don't know why I look younger than most of the people I went to high school with. I eat a lot of nuts. I eat a lot of berries. I'm very healthful in that way. People see me eating pizza and crabs at Costas and eating fried. I love French fries. I eat ice cream every night. I drink a ton of water. I do a ton of hydration. Everybody sees me drinking here. It's either water or it's a Hydrate ID Life product that Brian Baldinger turned me on to. I do a lot of yoga. I don't brag about that or show pictures of me sweating or how awful I look or how uncolor coordinated I am for all the women in my yoga class. But I wonder, what is it about me that my hair didn't go gray, other than genetics, and I know all of that, but is there something you could be eating, doing when you're 20 or 30? That's a stupid thing about gray hair. That's a vanity thing. You're talking more about cancer and what happens in your gut and your health and the quality of your blood and the quality of your life, but what other things could you be doing as a younger person other than vitamin D? The other things that sort of your top 5. I mean, I know eating broccoli is good for me and what superfoods are, and I got turned on to berries 15 years ago that I eat a ton of nuts and berries. It's just part of my diet, I've changed a lot of that, but the one thing I haven't done, dude, and shame on me, especially being partners and loving you and knowing you for 30 years, is I don't take supplements, dude. I don't. Right. My wife marvels at the quality of my skin because my skin's like really soft against the universe, and I think it's because I drink a lot of water. But I don't.
Yep.
People say about my hair, even when I had dye in my hair, like I use toothpaste, man. Like I use toothpaste, a little deodorant, sometimes a little cologne, but I don't put anything other than soap and shampoo. I don't even use conditioner. So like it's fascinating to me that people have these issues, and I think so much of it's what you eat. That's my opinion, but the one thing I don't ingest are what you sell, which are holistic and vitamins. I wish I had more of a routine to take 12 of these widgets every morning 3 times a day and felt even more vibrant than I feel. And I think I'm a dude that sleeps 4 hours a day, so it'd be hard to juice more out of me. But this is a part of my life at 50 that other than watching some Dr. Oz and getting together with you once a week on the radio, I don't know a lot about supplements and stuff that I could or should be taking as a 50-year-old dude who's a pretty healthy guy.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And so there's a couple things. Number one, I would tell you that you mentioned brushing your teeth. And so it's become your habit. And, you do it twice a day, and you just do it without even thinking about it now. And it can be the same thing with the supplements. So what I would encourage you to do, and everybody out there that's listening,
set an alarm.
If it's not a habit, make it, grit your teeth and say, what, for 3 weeks, I'm not going to miss a dose of my supplements. And, don't go overboard and have 12 bottles on the counter. Pick the things that are probably the most important, 2 or 3 supplements, and take them religiously, come hell or high water. And once you've been doing it for 3 weeks, it will become your habit, just like brushing your teeth, and then you won't have to think about it, and it won't be a struggle to do. What you're talking about with your hair and otherwise, I think it's interesting because there's a couple things. Obviously, your diet is really, really important. And I am not a fan of having grains in our diet. Just like I talked about, we were not designed to live indoors. We were not designed to
eat corn,
withstand the assault of raised blood sugar and the resulting raised insulin levels that happens because of that. That is a relatively new phenomenon for us as a species, and it's not healthy for us. And so I'm a fan of not having a ton of grains in our diet. Sleep is obviously very, very important. And it's not just getting sleep, but it's when you get that sleep. We were designed to be asleep between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's when some specific biological functions happen in the body that just can't be replaced.
And by the way, at 50, that's about what I sleep. I sleep every night religiously between 10 and 2 a.m., but very rarely before 9 and very rarely after 3 or 4. It's fascinating because my father used to, function on 5 hours of sleep, and I was always blown away that he could be up late watching the Terps play at 11:30 and be up at 4:30, and I'm, 12 years old and waking up at 8 in the morning, and I can't get out of bed for the Flintstones, right? Like literally. Right. And as an older person, I just sleep less, man. I mean, I just do, and I don't know why.
I think, that's probably a common phenomenon. I certainly experienced that, and other people that I've spoken to as they've aged, have experienced that as well. I'm a get up early guy. I'm usually up between 4 and 5 every morning, and so, I try to make sure I try to get in bed by 10 so that I can get the sleep that I need. The other thing that I think is interesting of note for you in having your genes express themselves in a more positive way, which is sort of what you're reporting with, looking younger than guys you went to high school with. I bet, you don't take prescription medicines like most of them do.
I have never taken any prescription medicine for any period of time more than a week or two after a cold or a surgery.
Right.
Ever.
So,
yeah.
Right.
I hate Advil. I have Advil, and I'll take Advil when something really hurts. I'm but I hate drugs. I mean, I just do. I hate the way they make me feel. I hate taking a Claritin because it makes me all cloudy. And I have allergy issues, which we've talked about on the air. So I think all these people finding someone and finding the things that help you and going out onto the dark web and learning. You know what I mean? Like, who do you trust? I mean, that's part of the issue, and I trust what works. I trust experiential things.
So here's some insight to Nestor as a person. You ready?
Sure.
For the vast majority of your adult life, you have had an outlet that many people do not have in expressing how they feel. You've been on the radio forever, and that has been a platform for you to tell the world what you're observing.
This has been loud. Dude, I can't cuss here. I mean, I can't, I don't, you know what I mean?
I didn't say how you express yourself. I'm just saying the ability to express yourself.
If anybody really thinks that for 30 years I've said what I really think on the radio, you've never been around the condo with me and my wife. You know what I mean? Literally.
So having an outlet of one, self-expression, and two, creativity is something that many people do not really have or feel that they have. And that is a tremendous stress relief where you're sort of letting go of things that if they were kept inside would affect genetic expression and function. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I'm not pissed at my boss. I'm just pissed at my former sponsors.
There you go. I like that.
Brian Sanderoff is here. He's Curio Wellness. He's out on York Road. Hey, man, you know what? I do Bill Cole for therapy every week. This is almost like a different psychotherapy we're working on here, how to keep me alive longer.
That's it. Exactly, man. Because, you're here to do some important work, so we have to keep you alive.
You got it. Brian Sanderoff, Curio Wellness. We're going to be doing an appearance out there next month and hanging out, talking football as we always do. But we didn't get any sports into this. Anything you want to say or no?
Oh, man, I'm getting more and more excited. I know that, 4 or 5 months ago, you and I talked. I actually doubled down and got 2 extra season tickets, season tickets, and I've got 6 of them now instead of 4. And when I did it, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, and it could be exciting. And I still feel that we could be 12-4, we could be 4-12. But each passing day, each passing game, I'm getting more and more excited about this team. It's young, it's exciting, and maybe for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the offense instead of the defense.
Well, the other weird part is I'm starting to look at the calendar, and I don't care about this Eagles nonsense and this BS with the. Listen, Miami, they can go win, and then Arizona, they can win. They should win, And then you go to week 3 and you say Kansas City. All right, let's see if that's going to be the test for me. Where are they on the morning of the 23rd when I'm flying back from Kansas City? Are they 1-2? Are they 2-1? Are they 3-0? Are they 0? If they're 2-1 and put up a nice fight in Kansas City and they've beaten these 2 teams to begin the season, I'll go out to Kansas City at 2-0 and I'll be a believer. If somehow they stub their toe in Miami and don't look so good against Arizona, I think we'll get a trajectory of the season pretty quickly before Kansas City because I think we believe we're better than Miami and Arizona.
Yep. Yeah, I think so as well. And, I'm generally an optimistic guy anyways, but I am really starting to get excited. Can't wait to see what happens.
Football season is here. He is Brian Sanderoff. He's out of Curio Wellness. You can find them at Curio Wellness. They have a whole events calendar, all sorts of cannabis education, and all sorts of holistic wellness education, as well as a spa. They do it all. CurioWellness.com. Find them out there, one of our great sponsors. And Brian Sanderoff, always there to help you get into the toolbox that you need for your health and wellness. It says wellness right on the door. Curio Wellness. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I'm out in the buy a Toyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Lots of football, lots of baseball stuff. Still talking stadium in the future of the Orioles. And a little bit of rock and roll mixed in here as we get up on Labor Day and football season. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.